Okay, it is 6 o'clock and I'd like to call the Long Lake Township Board meeting to order. Regular meeting, April 14th, 2015. Would you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Rosa,
Here.
Wagner, Garvin,
Here.
Leonardson, Maney,
Here.
Hoffman is here, Shop.
Here.
We have a quorum. Item 4 is public comment. Heidi is here and would like to speak under public comment.
My name is Heidi Sheffy. I'm the Grand Traverse County Treasurer. I live in 1904 Knollview. But before you had made a copy of our settlement history. This is my third year as the County Treasurer. So I kind of have a little history that I created just to show how your township's doing, where the settlement numbers come in. Just to give you just a little update, I've kind of, since I've been in office, made a few changes. Before we used to get our numbers from equalization. Now we take the numbers that the equalization director reports to the state. We start with those numbers. We actually create your guys' tax database just as if you guys had created it. And then we work with your assessor, work with your treasurer, and do board of review, tax tribunal, all the adjustments, enter them as the year goes. And we mirror what you guys do. Trish has been nice enough to give us, we established FTP site, so we get your database twice a month once you make your disbursements, and then we compare what we expect to see with what's actually there, and if there's any differences, we catch it right then and there instead of at settlement. So settlement this year went really smoothly. We had
Good.
so, but I just we're working through trying to make it so we're 99.9% confident with these numbers, matching the state reports, everything's coming through. But this is the settlement sheet that we agreed upon and basically purchased. If you look at, obviously, the pie chart, most of the taxes are paid in here in the township, which is a good thing. That saves your constituents money, no fees, no penalties, no interest. So they're doing well. The 97.3% have paid here. The amount that I purchased is the delinquent real property tax, and then once March 1st comes, it's my responsibility to collect those, and then Trish's, with the exception of personal property. If you look on the front, you'll notice the personal property dropped significantly. The delinquent personal property last year was $10,000. This year, $2,491. Now, obviously, there's a little because of the reduction in personal property, the talk of it going away and the exemptions. But the graph kind of shows what we purchased last year. So you kind of got a dip. So you're actually more than last year. But overall, still 2% of the entire taxable value is not bad. So, but I just, I know Bill never came out. I just kind of wanted to let you know I'm here. My office has open door policy. If there's ever any questions or any way you can think that we can improve or make things better, I'm happy to hear it.
I think you've done it. I do. It's much easier to, and the fact that we don't have to make an appointment and then go in there, and it's much nicer to do it. It's all electronically now, so.
Yeah, we've streamlined it quite a bit.
Sounds
so
like it.
it's very, hopefully, user-friendly and nice. But I just wanted to get out, introduce myself. I know it's my 3 years, so I got a little history. So I just wanted to let you know what we're doing. And like I said, if you ever see anything you need from us, please don't hesitate to call.
We appreciate you coming
Thanks
out
for
and
coming.
informing us.
Yeah, and I do apologize. I have to go to Garfield next, so I can't
Well,
stay.
I
But
appreciate it. Thank you so
okay,
much.
Thank you, Heidi.
Great. Thank you very much. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comment at this time? Okay, if not, we will move on to our consent calendar.
Under consent this evening, we have Township Board minutes of March 10th regular meeting, Treasurer's report of February 28th, 2015, Zoning Department report, Grand Traverse County Road Commission, Grand Traverse Fire, Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Department, Planners Report, and Assessors Quarterly. Is there anything that anyone on the board would like to have pulled for further discussion?
Okay, hearing none, would someone make a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Trish?
Support.
Is there support? Okay, support by Dave. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Approval or amendment to the agenda. I have nothing to add or change on the agenda this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Trish?
I'll support.
Dwayne supports. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Is there anything on the agenda this evening that would be a conflict of interest from any board member? Hearing none, we will move on to our second public comment. Anyone wish to speak at this time? Item 9 is special reports. I have a written report from Acting Captain Magera, and I gave you all a copy of that. For March incidents, the EMS-related incidents were 11, fire-related incidents were 2, and incidents where responding units were canceled en route were 3. So that, and he has a very nice report other than that, but you can take your time and read that. Commissioner Wheelock is not here at this time. If he comes in, we will catch him at a later time.
Yeah, speaking of that one. here.
Oh, there he is.
Just
You're
in time.
you're up.
Don't sit down.
Big deal. All right,
Yeah.
things at the county are extremely busy. Lots of stuff going on. It's renewal time for the agreement between the city and the county that causes the county using the Front Street building adjacent to the city fire station for Commission on Aging and MSU Extension. That's kind of a swap with the city using a portion of the law enforcement center that belongs to the county. Trying to evaluate the value of these two buildings, value of the square footage that we're using, and seeing whether that's still, an appropriate swap. The administrator is currently renegotiating the contract with the city for central records in regard to, how many complaints, how many tickets and things our central records people handle on behalf of the city police department. It's always been just a proportionate percentage. We've never really evaluated how many actual documents they handle from one compared to the other. It's always been, 16% of the county or whatever the number is city, so that was the percentage that the city paid. We're not quite sure that that's the proper number. Commissioners have asked to look at the possibility of budgeting for outcomes, where it's a completely different system that we would use for creating our budget, tracking our expenditures, trying to evaluate what every particular service we do costs specifically, and it's, going to be complicated to change over. It's a completely different type of accounting. We're accounting by budget centers, we're not accounting by line items, and there are ways that the auditors will allow us to do that, but there are other things that is truth in budgeting doesn't necessarily quite fit into the way government finance reporting is required. So it's kind of a mixed bag of worms, but we're getting there. On tomorrow night's agenda is review of the county administrator's contract. It's up for renewal at the end of the year, and some commissioners have asked that contract be reviewed. In the event the commissioners were to vote not to renew that contract, he has to be given 6 months' notice. According to his contract, or you're going to pay him for 6 months one way or the other. So, this is the time if you're gonna review it, and that's even a possibility, you need to have that discussion now. Last night, we had an extensive joint meeting with the city commission to talk about a public-private partnership with the Park Place Motel. And what's being discussed is Park Place is going to, is phase one, tear down the old dome and create a modern type convention center that's there. Phase two of that development would involve about 400 space parking deck in the area behind what's currently the Park Place Hotel, back behind where the swimming pool is, where the little covered area is. Behind that, they're proposing to build a 400 space parking deck. Along Washington Street, they would put approximately 30 affordable workforce dwelling units, housing units. Phase two, the piece of that becomes the public component, is the county, because this is historical property, it qualifies for brownfield credit, which means that we can also use brownfield monies to pay some of the infrastructure improvements, and that would also include the parking direct, the below ground work, the excavation, and the foundation. In exchange for the county participating in this, they are pledging holding approximately 180 parking spaces in that deck for Grand Traverse County employees. We have 107 employees currently working in the Hall of Justice. This would be immediately across the road from there. Anyone that tries to find parking spaces at the governmental center in today's world, particularly on the day where you've got 2 or 3 courtrooms working, or they're doing jury selection. Here a while back, they had a jury selection on a Tuesday, and they had a couple pending trials that they thought might be a problem. They had like 165 jurors selected to come in that day, and people were parked 5-6 blocks away and walking down the city streets trying to get there in the middle of the wintertime. So that becomes a problem. Parking there has always been a problem. I think this could be an excellent partnership with it. Phase 3 of the development actually involves taking and building a residential, commercial, joint mixed-use development at the corner of 8th Street and Boardman, in what's currently the end of the county's parking lot. That project, depending on how it fleshes out, is still at this time very preliminary. Would involve maybe building some dwelling units along the river, between what's currently the parking lot and the river. In my mind, that kind of mirrors the development on Midtown on the other side of the river, at least partway back to the governmental center. That would do a couple things. One, as soon as that development happens, we immediately start collecting tax money on that property, which currently we get nothing off from it. The development what the Park Place is going to do, as soon as they dig a hole in the ground, that immediately uncaps that parcel of property. So all of a sudden, this new convention center is not based on the value of that dome that was built in 1976 or whatever it was. It makes a huge difference financially. The apartment buildings, if you will, along Washington Street will generate somewhere between $2,500 and $2,800 of new tax revenue every year, each. So if you get 30 of those, that's quite a difference. I think right now all of the questions are centered around the parking and what constitutes affordable housing. I've been involved in that discussion a long time, as you all know. Affordable housing, the MISHDA housing, 24 of these 30 units, the way the plan is drawn right now, have to be MISHDA acceptable. So that means that a single family or a single bedroom apartment would be in the $625 range, and a 2-bedroom would be, I believe it's about $875. The others are at market rate, which are about $1,000 a month, which is still, you know, pretty cheap rent for downtown Traverse City. And, you know, we have a huge shortage of rental property in the city, and we have a huge shortage of workforce housing anywhere near the city. So I think it's a good idea. You know, we still got to see a lot of details that have to be worked out. All in all, I think, you know, it certainly warrants moving forward with further discussion. You know, and this thing has to make economic sense to the developer too. You know, it's real easy to say, well, this is what we want, but it has to make sense financially or they're not gonna do it. You know, now the only way that the TIF money, the tax increment financing for phase 2 in the building of this structure, or the parking structure, makes any sense in any of the numbers that I've seen is if you do phase 2 and phase 3. There's a phase 4 portion that's, I believe it's a law office that's currently between Park Place Hotel and that new apartment building that's at the corner of Boardman and State Street. There's a single-story law office that's been there for a long time. I'm pretty sure it's a law office. And Tom McIntyre is a partner in this project, and he wants to build I believe it's a 4-story multi-use commercial residential development in between the two. So it's about a $50 million project, start to finish. You know, the county commits some brownfield funds. You know, try to explain to people the brownfield funds, it's not like we give the developers a dime. It's just they spend the money for the environmental cleanup, they spend the money for it up front, and then once tax money is starting to be recovered, then they are reimbursed up to that portion that qualifies for TIF funding and brownfield funding. So we always get into this discussion when we talk about brownfield projects that everybody thinks that the county's handing out this money to these developers. The developer has to put the money in. And then once we start collecting taxes, then that portion that is qualified can be reimbursed back to them. You know, the TIF funding is on this project is about 25 to 30 years payback. So somebody's put up a lot of money up front to wait for a long time to get all of it back. But, the other thing I did want to mention, I'm sure it isn't finalized yet, but I might as well tell you anyway. The Land Bank Authority last week authorized the sale of the old Stop and Shop property on M72 West to Don and Marion that own the hayloft, Flinsky. If you remember, there's a little narrow L-shaped strip of land between Ed Bouquet's house and what's the hayloft. That property comes through along the side and then around behind the hayloft. That property was taken by the land bank for lack of taxes about 3 years ago. Yeah, at least 3 years ago. And we've held the property because the DEQ agreed to do the environmental cleanup from the fuel tanks and things that were there. So the DEQ's been on site for about 1.5 years pumping the groundwater and clearing that. In November, they announced that the property was cleared and was available for sale. They asked that they leave their equipment until spring, and I would assume it'll be going out of there very shortly, but I don't know whether there will be a monitoring well there or not. But the fact is that by the land bank holding this property, the DEQ was able to use their monies to pay for the environmental cleanup. If, you know, we could have sold the property, you know, 3 years ago when it came to us, but then whoever bought the property been responsible for the cleanup. So this is a good thing, I think, environmentally. We have about $10,200 in asbestos abatement and demolition costs for that parcel of property. That money will not all be recovered by the sale price. Basically, we're going to get the back taxes and an administrative fee for it. But we have asked that the property not be combined. You know, one of the discussions was to combine it with the hayloft property. If we do not allow that property to be combined for up to 5 years, we can pull 50% of the tax property taxes on that property back to the land bank because we held the property. So that will reimburse us, somewhere between a third and a half of what our costs were for the environmental cleanup. But most importantly, we've taken care of that blighted building, we've cleaned the property up, and we've put it back on the tax roll. So, this property was a little unique in that about 2/3 of the septic system for the hayloft is also on this piece of property. So, there was a lot of discussion about, well, we wanted to provide an easement to the property that's behind. I know that Leslie, your planner, was very involved in trying to develop an easement back to the back property. But, we're on the second or third owner of that back property, and that was never came to fruition. So, we finally voted last week to sell the property to Donna Marion and get it back on the tax roll. So I think that, I think it's the right thing. And by the land bank holding it, we did a lot of good things and number one, we were able to take care of the demolition of the old building. And we got that all cleaned up, and we got the DEQ to partner with us to do the environmental cleanup. If there's one of the best things that I think the land bank does is we hold property and we do the cleanups, which helps the neighborhoods. We've got a site out on Linden Street in Garfield Township right now that I don't know if we'll ever be able to sell it because the property, because of Garfield's regulations, even though we've taken the mobile home out, we've cleaned the site, in order for someone to build a new home on there, they require that they hook to the water and sewer. Well, the water and sewer fees, the hookup fees, is about $12,000. Well, that makes the price of this lot pretty damn expensive. And along with the fact they required that it be done by a bonded contractor because the water main's on the other side of the road. So it just makes the development cost of that parcel of property just through the roof. That's the one thing that's nice about the Park Place development that we talked about last night. We could never talk about this project other than the fact that the Park Place already owns the property. If they were trying to buy property in the center of downtown Traverse City, it would never happen. I talked to the developer after the meeting for a while, and he said they really looked at, I think it's 3 houses in that area, and they looked at possibly purchasing those houses and, expanding that development a little bit. But there's just no way the acquisition cost of the property just took the project completely out of the possibility of making sense economically. Any questions?
Questions for Sunny? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sonny.
Okay, item C is supervisor's report. I tried to do a quarterly report, and I think I'm due. I wanted to bring you a little bit up to speed on the Crescent Shores road end agreements that we've been working on all winter, and with some encroachment issues, and I think we're just about there and just about ready to have the parties sign, and once they do, we'll be bringing them back to the board for approval of those. And we've gone through this because in order to go to the DNR and ask for grant monies to help us with the launch itself, the rebuilding of that, we have to have certain criteria for distance and radius and so on. And so that's why we've gone through this process, and it's taken a long time, but I think, according to Jim Young, we're almost there. So that's moving along. We are going to have a presentation of the Crescent Shores boat launch and parking area preliminary plan presentation on April 29th. We think here at the township, although we thought maybe we should try to get a larger area to do it, and I'm not sure if we've buttoned that down quite yet, but there will be at least a preliminary plan, so everyone, especially in that area, can take a look at them and give us some concerns that they might have. So that will be at 6:30 to 8 is what we are planning. I think I mentioned before that we've been working on our Parks and Recreation map, updating that, and we're just about nearly to completion with that. Hopefully it'll be out around the first part of May. Tucker Road grant has come through, and you have in your packet a resolution to prove to them that we are willing to do our part, and that's finally coming together. So that will be a nice asset to the Cedar Run Creek natural area. So we have parking on the other side of on the west side of that property. We are going to again be offering a no-charge brush yard waste pass again this spring, like we did last spring and last fall. And the time frame of that is May 19th through June 9th, and we'll be having the passes here to pick up, and they can take 1 3 cubic yard load free to the resource recovery yard waste on Keystone, I believe it is. And so there'll be some press releases on that. We'll be putting it on our website and letting people know. And it was very, very well received last year, and we decided that it would be a good thing to do again. So I think that's all that I have right now. We will move on to, I'm sorry?
What was the ending date? May
The
19th
ending
through
date
June?
for that was
June 9th.
June
June
9th.
Okay.
May 19th through June 9th.
Yeah.
And they don't accept every day, but the dates are specifically on those
Okay.
passes.
And
as
this
to
will be in
when.
the newsletter and.
Well,
No.
we'll be in the newsletter because our newsletter doesn't
Is
go out
that
till
in-
July
Till
1.
July, okay.
So it'll be on the website, there'll be a
Website.
press release, we'll
Okay.
put the sign out front, and we'll try to get the word out as much as we can. Okay, we're going to move on to our pending business, and this is the Timbers Trail Road Maintenance Agreement that we've been working on for, it seems like forever and ever and ever, and I think we may have tweaked it a little bit, but it's the same as what, you and Jim and I have talked about. So, one of the things I noticed that was a mistake at the bottom of the first page, in capital letters, it says part of Timbers Trail Road Maintenance Agreement, which was supposed to go on the next page, which there is one on the next page, but somehow it got in there and I didn't notice it until I was rereading it through today. So, do you have any questions about it? I know you've had it before. We've had it on the board agenda before. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. What we will do is get this out to all the property owners that have Timber Trail address. I have the description of the legal description of the road now. That had changed a little bit with, number one, the road commission changing a little bit what they were doing, Orly changing a little bit of where we were coming across his property. So there were kind of few last minute things I didn't have that quite ready to give to you. And also as far as the, and that would be Exhibit 2, and we don't have the actual survey drawing yet. And Exhibit 1 is the names and addresses and descriptions of all the property owners that this will be going to, which I have here if anyone wants to look at, but it's just, that's what it is. So when we refer to Exhibit 1 and 2, those are what the exhibits are. So, are there questions that anyone has? It's pretty much
No, I didn't have it.
what we had discussed previously, and we're just wanting to get this out. So if they sign this and get this back to us, that means that they will have legal access to use that road, which they don't have right now. They've never had it. They could go through adverse possession, I'm sure, but they've never legally been able to use this road. So
Do you need anything from us regarding this, or?
I just need a motion to approve the Timbers Trail Road Easement and Maintenance Agreement.
So moved.
Okay, Trish
I'll
and Dwayne supports. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That gives us the go-ahead to get going on this then, and we'll sign and get this on its way. Did you have anything to add?
No, that was, no, I'm glad that the legal descriptions got compiled. I saw it on the agenda, I was like, I was looking at all that down.
Yeah, well, this is what I got this afternoon, so. Yeah, I think we've got it now. Okay, under new business is an appointment for the ZBA alternate person, and that is James Johnson. He has been an alternate member for at least the past 3 years, and he has said he would do it again. And so his term is from March 13-15 to March 13-18. And it is an alternate member, it's not a regular board member, but we do use them on occasion. So that is my recommendation for appointment.
Make a motion that we accept the supervisor's recommendation to appoint James Johnson 4/13/2015 through 4/13/2018.
No, 3/13.
Oh,
I'm sorry, it's March.
Sorry,
We're,
March.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
is March,
four.
not
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
No, that's
then
logical.
3/13.
3/13/15 to 3/13/18.
I'll support that.
Carol, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now, Matt is here to help us through or answer any questions on the memorandum of understanding for Timbers Recreation Area. You wanna explain or talk about this a little bit? Because we've never done this before with the Land Conservancy, but I
Okay.
know you've done it with other
Yeah,
properties.
this is basically just sets up sort of the framework of our relationship for the next couple of years. You know, we did actually have one, you know, that sort of spelled out roles and responsibilities for the acquisition, you know, and expectations. It just helps, you know, in that case, it helps to know, like, okay, who's gonna be doing what, making sure we're not stepping on each other's toes and assumptions aren't being made that, you know, I thought you were doing that. No, we thought you were doing that. We are now, just within the last, I'd say 5 years, we're beginning to have more of a role in terms of post-acquisition. You know, setting up communities for success in terms of making sure that the properties are, you know, sort of set up and managed in a way that would, you know, that's consistent with the original intent of the project and donors' intent and fund, you know, all the different funding agencies. In this case, it's just gonna be the trust fund and private donors. And this Timbers in particular too, you know, we have a lot invested organizationally in this project. And so we kind of feel like we want to stay involved here out of the gate for the next couple of years.
Or longer, right?
Or longer, and that's the thing, there's actually a paragraph in there, it notes, you know, where in September of 16, so after kind of 2, you know, summer seasons of use, there's a deliberate point where we get together to say, okay, how's this working out? You know, is it, you know, do we want to kind of renew the existing one, or, you know, are there things that should be shifted over to the township at this point? You know, kind of a, you know, an opportunity to deliberately say, okay, how are things working? What can we do better, type of thing. It's pretty self-explanatory, really, in terms of, you know, what we're willing to do. It's not a contract, you know, it's not contractually binding. That's why we're calling it an MOU. There's some language in there that talks about, you know, if we disagree, you know, some steps to take to try to reach agreement, that type of thing. But really, I mean, we're willing to sort of continue our level of, you know, of assistance, everything from doing organized work days out there with volunteers to being the people you can call when there's a problem, if there's a tree down, that type of thing. We're just asking the township sort of, you know, take care of the parking area and do more of that type of thing. Porta Johns, if you guys choose to put, you know, one in the parking area, maybe one down at the lake, that's like that type of maintenance is your responsibility, but all the land management type stuff is ours. In addition to helping you develop, really taking the lead in helping you develop the management plan. That's really the biggest task probably here. And we've met with Karen and Trish and Leslie, and Leslie's gonna be working with us in terms of facilitating some of the public input sessions or public meetings to get that public input, but we have a lot of experience crafting management plans and we're happy to do that. But that really sort of sets the stage for how the property is going to be managed, what kind of amenities might be developed, you know, to facilitate access, what your community wants. It's going to be listening to what your community wants and putting that into a reasonable work plan, and then helping you accomplish some of those tasks in the work plan, so.
Well, I for one welcome your help because this is a huge piece of property, a huge undertaking, and I know Jim, our maintenance person, is relieved to think that it's not totally his responsibility to see that everything is done over there because, and it's all new to to us
Yeah.
regarding this particular piece.
Yeah, and I think it's very, very helpful because you know.
We need the help.
You need the help, one way or another, that,
Yeah.
so it's really nice that you do that. And a lot of good things about it, people step in and says, oh, I walked on that property, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great, and I seen somebody in town the other day, and they said, yeah, I've been out to that property, yeah, it's really great. So you're doing a nice job so far, and you keep doing it,
Starting to be used
so anyway,
more and
so.
more.
Good.
Yeah.
I saw a publication, where was it? I know, I was at the Great Wolf Lodge, I took my kids there for spring break for a night. And there was a Traverse City, like visitor's guide, like a magazine. And one of the articles was on places to go hike with, that are in close proximity to Traverse City. And there's like 5 highlighted, the Vasa and Timbers was on there. And I didn't even, I was like, oh, look at that.
Wow.
So,
my.
and that was in every, I imagine probably every hotel room at Great Wolf Lodge. I mean,
Wow.
it was a chamber doc, you're not a chamber, a Convention Visitors Bureau publication.
Wow.
Found one
I
in,
just thought it was really nice that they had that highlighted
yeah,
there.
I was coming back from Chicago and stopped there and it says Traverse City, you pick up this thing at that Welcome Center.
Yeah,
In downstate Michigan, and there it is. Got everything.
okay,
As you come up to Traverse City, and this is what you see in
Yeah.
different places, so it's really
Wow.
nice to see that. So,
yeah, so,
yeah.
It
no,
might-
this is near and dear to our heart. We
Oh, I
want to,
know.
and we've got 5 full-time staff, that help take care of the properties that we own too. So this is, and we have one person, his name's Jake Bornay, really nice fella, who's gonna be sort of your main point of contact on that type of stuff. I'll still be involved, but, kind of on higher level stuff, but on the day-to-day stuff, Jake's your guy. And Karen's met him, and, you guys, I think a couple of you guys met him, Trish has, so.
In talking to Jim, I think it would be helpful to have Jake come out and sit down with Jim and your treasurer, whoever, and just kind of review and go over, because the summer's gonna be coming, and, just to kind of, so everyone's on the same page.
Okay, yep. I may be part of that too.
Yes,
Sure.
yes.
And you tell Jim what the parking lots you'd like to have done too, or whatever else too, you know what
Well,
I'm
he's
saying?
already ordered garbage barrels
Yeah.
and, that
Yeah,
kind of
things
stuff
like
that he
stuff.
knew we were going
We were
to.
waiting for some frost laws too, because we're gonna be doing more gravel, between the parking lot and that
Okay.
first berm, because it's kind of muddy.
Yeah.
Just to be able to get, to get over.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're on stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, I'll have Jake reach out to Jim and
Okay,
Trish, you wanna be
Sure,
part of that too?
please, yeah.
Okay,
cross laws might go off Thursday or Friday, I hear.
okay.
So that will be a good thing. So if you don't have any other questions for Matt, it would be a good idea to approve this because there's a place for a signature on it, and I would appreciate that.
I make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding of the Timbers Recreation Area.
Okay, Dwayne, is there support?
Support.
Dave? Any further discussion? Any other questions for Matt? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to sit down with you sometime and go over these names and addresses and all this stuff, once we get the drawing and everything finalized,
Okay,
okay?
yep.
I'll let you know.
Does Jesse know that he's gonna be doing a drawing? He
Yes.
does, okay.
Angela's been talking to her.
Okay, all right, good.
Yep, her, him, it's a him.
Jesse.
I keep thinking it's a her, and I've never met this person, and I keep saying her, but
When you see
I was
him, you'll
corrected
realize.
today, it's a him. What'd you say?
What'd you see of you, though?
Thank you, thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
Matt.
Thank you.
Seeing you.
Enjoy your summer.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Okay, item C is a resolution number 04-14/15-10, resolution of support for the MDNR Trust Fund Grant Development Project Agreement, and this is for the Tucker Road parking area, et cetera, and we've been on hold waiting. I mean, we knew they approved it, but what?
I said, I'll think of this. I just heard a little parking lot.
They were asking for all the documentations,
Oh,
but we've not been able to do much until this has been approved, and we officially passed the resolution that our portion of that is $15,700, which is 25% of the actual amount, which is 62.6. So I think this is going to
Very good.
services very well, and the plans are starting to get drawn and things are starting to happen. So if we could pass this resolution tonight to get this sent out and on its way, we'll be in good shape.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution number 04-14/15-10.
Trish,
I'll support.
Dwayne, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Garvin,
Yes.
Mayne,
Yes.
Rosa,
Yes,
Shaw,
Yes.
Hoffman votes yes.
I appreciate you all reading and doing your homework so that we can move on these very much. Okay, we're on to payment of bills,
Our budget status.
or budget status, I'm sorry, and I think we have one amendment to our budget.
We have an amendment, it's on this sheet, it's highlighted, and the township needed to purchase the Timbers property and pay back the Regional Land Conservancy, so it was almost $205,000. So we need to make a budget amendment to include state grant revenue of $205,000 and increase Parks capital outlay budget by $205,000. So that would be my recommendation.
This was a check that came from the state, but it had to come through us,
And
so
then
we
Had
could,
to be the
distribute it
had to
to
be
them.
then
Yeah.
sent on to them, so that's why we have to make these adjustments. But this is money that came from the state for the finalization of the Timbers property.
And the Conservancy just upfronted the money.
Yes.
To buy it, and then we're
Yes.
paying them back.
And we're paying them back, that's correct.
Okay.
So we will need a motion to do that.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Carol, support by Trish. Any further discussion? Would you like a roll call on
I
this
think
as
so.
well? I think so too. Okay, roll call please.
Shaw,
Yes.
Rosa,
Yes.
Garvin,
Yes.
Mayne,
Yes.
Hoffman votes yes.
Okay, that motion passes, and now we will move on to our check register report.
Check register report covers checks 32828 through 32862 totaling $233,086.33. The largest, of course, being the land purchase.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions that maybe I could answer for you?
I'll make a motion to pay the check register report, checks number 32,828 through 32,862, a total of $233,086.33.
Dave,
I'll support.
Dwayne supports. Further discussion? Roll call please.
Mayne,
Yes.
Garvin,
Yes.
Rosa,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Hoffman, yes. We have the vendor approval summary, and it covers checks 32863 through 32881 totaling $112,901.98. And the largest of those being the second quarter Grand Traverse Fire allocation of $81,271.75. And then the EMT on-call and workers' comp, $20,934.95 to Grand Traverse Fire. So that's the $100,000 right there.
Okay.
So any other questions that you might have?
I'll make a motion to accept the vendor approval summary, checks number 32863 through 32881 for $112,901.98.
Trish,
I'll support.
Dwayne. Further discussion? Roll call please.
Rosa,
Yes.
Garvin,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Mayne,
Yes.
Hoffman votes yes.
Motion is carried, and we are adjourned at 6:45.